Hi everyone. Today our group will be talking about how close calls of nuclear war have affected politics and how leaders make decisions when they're under extreme pressure. To start off, we have made a timeline of major nuclear close calls and how they have changed politics from global alliances to government decision making.
Here you can see events like the Cuban Missile Crisis, Norwegian rocket incident, and others where political tension and fear of nuclear conflict influenced what leaders did and the country's political landscapes.
Each of these moments shaped how countries built trust, communicated, and tried to prevent future misunderstandings.
The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 reshaped Cuba's political alliances, trade relationships, and economy. In its aftermath, Cuba grew more dependent on the Soviet Union, which provided military support and favorable trade terms, especially for sugar exports.
The U.S. tightened its embargo, cutting off nearly all Western trade and forcing Cuba to rely on Soviet bloc countries for essential goods like oil and machinery.
This shift pushed Cuba towards a centralized, state-controlled economy focused on defense and ideological alignment. The government increased military spending and surveillance, restricted civil liberties, and suppressed dissent in the name of national security. These changes entrenched authoritarian control and shaped Cuba's development for decades.
Now, to help you get a sense of what these situations might feel like, we're going to play a simulation game. Here's your scenario. Your country has just received a signal saying that another nation may have launched a nuclear missile towards you.
The discussion between you and your team takes place in Toronto in 2025, and the estimated missile target is in Vancouver.
You'll have 8 minutes to decide what your government should do. Each person will get a card with a political role and a short description.
Do not share what is written on your card other than the name of your title.
For example, the Prime Minister, Commander, Weapons Officer, Political Advisor, and etc. Each role has its own goals and perspectives, and some roles will conflict with others, just like in real politics.
The Prime Minister is the only one who can break a tie if your group can't agree.
The communication officer should be the one to make the final statement to the public.
Here's an example of a statement. Authorities are investigating a possible incoming nuclear threat. This may be a false alarm, but please prepare immediately. As a precaution, go indoors, stay away from windows, and keep updated through official channels.
If at any point this scenario feels overwhelming, it's completely okay to step out or take a break.
At the end of the 8 minutes, your group will vote on one final decision about how to respond to the signal and make a statement to the public. We will start the timer now. Good luck.
We need to be on guard. We need to be able to retaliate at any moment of time.
Will they two people say this like that? No. We don't know if we're doing it. Is this so?
The information is correct. So we need to actually, how do you work to make sure?
Well, I think that's so we should be really debating about whether or not we should launch a nuclear missile.
The bomb is on its way. It's 100% on its way. How do you know? Do you know?
Let's open the first one now.
I'm hearing you guys say that people on this side of the table really want to be the aggressors, but you guys want to be the peacekeepers. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, because it's not the people's fault.
Okay, if everyone could turn their attention back to us, please. So we hope you had wonderful discussions. We've been hearing some amazing things coming from all of you. Now, I don't know if you guys have decided officially, but could I ask how many, with a raise of hands, how many of you decided to launch? Okay, very interesting. And how many people decided not to launch? Okay. Was there anyone that had any other, I don't know if there were any other like varying options? No decision? Okay. Well, we appreciate all of your discussion, and now we're going to continue with our presentation.
Yeah, so in this simulation, the threat turned out to be real. The nuclear missile struck Vancouver and resulted in 700,000 immediate deaths, just under 1 million people injured or immediately affected by the nuclear bomb. It would devastate the Vancouver and surrounding area.
All right, great job, everyone. What you just experienced has some key similarities to a real historical event, the Soviet nuclear false alarm. In 1983, a Soviet officer received a computer alert saying that several American nuclear missiles had been launched towards the Soviet Union. At that moment, he had to decide whether to report it as an attack, which would likely have triggered a nuclear retaliation, or to wait and trust his instincts that it might be a false alarm. He decided not to report it immediately, and it turns out he was right. The system had malfunctioned.
This was hidden from the public for many years. Only after the collapse of the USSR did this information leak.
His decision not to act may have prevented a global nuclear war. So you just experienced a situation very similar to what real political leaders once faced.
After playing, we want to ask a few reflection questions. First, did you feel stressed about the time limit or the pressure to decide quickly? And since some of your roles had different political goals, how did that affect your group's decision-making process? Did anyone feel like your perspective was ignored or challenged by others in your group, the way it might happen in a real political discussion?
Turn to your groups and discuss for 2 minutes.
Hello, everyone. I hope you guys had a good discussion with your group mates. So what's powerful is that close calls like these didn't just shape world politics. They shaped how leaders think, communicate, and handle uncertainty. Every mistake or moment of hesitation became a lesson that influenced how future decisions were made.
And even though some of these events happened decades ago, the lessons are still relevant today. The importance of calm thinking, teamwork, and communication under pressure continues to affect how governments respond to global challenges. So when we look back at these near disasters, it reminds us that leadership isn't just about power.
It's also about responsibility, trust, and making choices that could impact millions of lives.
We hope this activity gave you a better sense of what's at stake when political leaders face impossible decisions, and how much human judgment matters even in the most high-pressure situations.
Thank you all for listening and participating in our presentation.